Hey guys, this is Subhash Mishra, your test coach. Today we will learn how to use wait commands in Selenium WebDriver. So first we will understand what is wait in Selenium and why we need it. Before I explain you something, let me open one of our previous example and there I will show you something, right? So this is one of our previous example where we are using this radio button, right? So here you are saying we use this thread.sleep, right? So if you understand here, what we are doing is we are first setting the property of our Chrome driver. This is the Chrome driver and this is the path of the Chrome driver. Then we are instantiating the driver. Then we are maximizing our browser. Then we are navigating to this URL. Then we are using this thread.sleep. Then what we are trying to do, then we are trying to sign in button, this web element we have the sign in button, then we are clicking there. So why we are using this thread.sleep here, right? Because we want our script to wait for some time in this particular place, because we don't know how much time this web page will take to load, right? Maybe it can take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that, right? So when we are telling here thread.sleep 4000, we are telling it will wait for 4 seconds of time. So within that time the page will be loaded successfully. Then we can click here. This button will be visible. Then we can click here. That's why we are using thread.sleep here. So what happens? You will find most of the web applications are developed using Ajax and JavaScript. So when a page is loaded by the browser, the elements which we want to interact with may load at different time intervals. With that, it is very difficult to identify the element. Also, if there is any issue and the element is not located, it will throw an element not visible exception. So using waits, we can resolve all these kind of problems. Okay, and wait commands are very essential when we execute Selenium test cases that help us to observe and troubleshoot issues that may occur due to variation in time lag. So in our Selenium test, many times we observe element not visible exception when element is not found due to delay in page loading. So Selenium wait commands are used to prevent this kind of exceptions. In automation testing, wait commands helps to pause the test execution for a certain length of time before moving on to the next step. That enables WebDriver to check if one or more web elements are either present or visible, or you can say clickable or something like that, right? So that's why wait commands are very much used in Selenium, and Selenium provides three different waits. Okay, one is implicit wait, explicit wait and fluent wait. Okay, so first we will understand what is implicit wait. Okay, so implicit wait in Selenium is used to tell the WebDriver to wait for a certain amount of time before it throws a no such element exception. Okay, so the default setting is 0. Once we set the time, the WebDriver will wait for the element for that time before throwing an exception. And from where this wait mechanism came? So Selenium WebDriver got this idea of implicit wait from waiter. I will show you that. Okay, and what is the syntax of this Selenium implicit wait? Let us see that. Okay, we will go to our Eclipse, and what I will do is I will create one new class. Okay, and in that we will understand. So first we will copy one of our previous class. Let me just copy and paste, and I will name it as, for example, wait example. Okay, so let me open that class. Okay, as I have told you before, here we are setting the Chrome driver property. This is the Chrome driver and this is the path of the Chrome driver. Here we are instantiating the driver, then we are maximizing the browser, and then we are navigating to this particular URL, and here we are using thread.sleep, right? And why we are using thread.sleep? Because we want to wait some time here. Okay, then we are clicking on this particular button. Okay, sign in button. So what we'll do, we'll not use this thread dot sleep, we'll use now the implicit wait. So how you will use it, right? So it is very simple. Okay, how you can use it? You just need to write first. Here we are instantiating the driver, then immediately what you can do, driver dot manage. Okay, then what you need to do, timeouts. Okay, then you say which wait you want to do, implicit wait, right? Implicit wait. So here what we will give, we will give the how much time we want to wait, right? So for example, here I will give 4 seconds, and here we will give time unit dot seconds. Okay, that's all. Fine. So we'll wait for 4 seconds here, and let's comment out these things. We don't need this. And here we'll use till submit button. Okay, this also I will comment it out, and let me remove this. This is not required, right? We don't want this much. So what we'll just try to do, we'll just navigate to this automationpractice.com, then we'll just click on this. So before we were using all this thread dot sleep and all, we'll just remove that. Okay, and here we are using the implicit wait, and we know implicit wait is a global wait, so we don't have to give individually everywhere. So I have commented out for all these things, right? For all the web element, you don't have to give it individually, you just give it in one place, it will be applicable everywhere. Okay, so let's execute now. So automationpractice.com is launching. So here before the sign in button, we wanted it to wait for some time, which is happening, right? Okay, then finally it entered email address and password, and that's all we are doing. We are not doing much here. Okay, so it waited for 4 seconds. If you want to wait for more time, you can just give more time here, and you can test that it will wait for that much time or not. Okay, you can do that things. So that's how your implicit wait works. And if you just want to understand more about this, so here what you are seeing, here we have declared an implicit wait with time frame of 4 seconds. Okay, it means if the element is not located on the web page within that time frame, it will throw an exception. Okay, and implicit wait accepts 2 parameters. The first parameter will accept the time, it is an integer format. Okay, and the second parameter will accept the time measurement in terms of seconds or minutes or millisecond, or you can give microsecond. Okay, you can see what are the different units available. Okay, and one more important thing is this implicit wait increases your test script execution time. Okay, because it will be applicable on all your objects or web elements, right? So it will increases your test script execution time, and it makes each command wait for the defined time before resuming your test execution. So here I am giving 4 seconds, means everywhere it will be wait for 4 seconds. Okay, so if the application is responding normally, then implicit wait can slow down your test execution. Okay, so if your application is working fine, there is no lag and all in time and all, in that case implicit wait can increase your test execution time. Okay, so now we will move to the what is explicit wait. Okay, we will understand what is explicit wait. So the explicit wait in Selenium is used to tell the WebDriver to wait for certain conditions that we tell in explicit wait as expected conditions, or what is the maximum time exceeded before throwing element not visible exception. So setting explicit wait is important in cases where there are certain elements that naturally takes more time. Okay, that it takes more time to load. If you will set implicit wait command, the browser will wait for the same time frame before loading every web element. But if you use explicit wait, it will wait for that particular web element. It will not wait for the all web elements. Okay, so that is the advantage of explicit wait. So explicit wait is more intelligent and can be applied for the specified element. Okay, so however, it is an improvement on implicit wait. Okay, as it allows the program to pause for dynamically loaded Ajax elements. Okay, so what are the different conditions for this explicit wait? For example, you can check alert is present, you can check if your element selection state to be or element to be clickable, element to be selected. I will show you all those things. You will be understanding when we will write the code. Okay, so let me write the code and show you how you can use it. So before to that, what I will do is I will just comment out this implicit wait. Now we will see explicit wait, right? So what we will do first, here we have the driver. Then what we will do, we will just write WebDriver wait. Then you can write wait is equal to new WebDriver wait. Then you give the driver here. Then what is the time you want to, for example 20 seconds. Okay, I will just import this WebDriver wait, import it. Okay, now what you want to do, you want to wait for a particular web element, right? So for example, this web element we want to wait. Okay, so if this XPath is fine, if this XPath is located, then only we will try to click, else we will not click. So what you will do, first you have a web element, for example web element sign in button. Okay, and let me just comment out this part. Okay, then what you can do, you can just write sign in button is equal to wait. So your this wait dot until. Okay, then your conditions. What is the conditions? You can write expected condition. Okay, expected condition. Then what is the conditions? You are telling, for example, see here there are multiple conditions, right? That's what I was trying to tell. See, alert is present. Okay, attribute contents, attribute to be. So all these are the different element to be clickable. Okay, so these are the different expected conditions we have. So here what we want visibility of elements located, right? Visibility of elements located. So we are telling if this element is located by this, then only we will click it. Okay, so that's our condition. Fine. So why there is a error? Okay, fine. Then what we'll do, we'll just do this sign in button dot click. Okay, so in this case we are particularly using this explicit wait for this web element. Okay, so this web elements, right? For example, this is not applicable or this is not applicable. But when you are using implicit wait, it was applicable on all. But when you are using explicit wait, it is applicable only on the web element where you are setting the conditions. So here we are setting the condition, so it is applicable only on this. Okay, so that is the major difference. Okay, so now what we can do, let's just execute it. So if you understand it correctly, what we did here, first we have set up this WebDriver wait equal to new WebDriver wait. Okay, and here we have given the conditions. Okay, if you want to see this, you can also see. Okay, what it is telling, wait will ignore instances of not found exception that are encountered by default in the until condition and immediately propagate all others. You can add more to the ignore. Okay. So here we are giving passing the driver and here we are passing timeout in seconds. Okay, so that's what we did. We have given driver and we have given 20 seconds of time. Okay, so now just let's execute and see what is happening. Okay, it happened. Fine. Similarly, you can increase or decrease this time just to verify. Okay. So what happened here? Here WebDriver waited for 20 seconds of time before throwing timeout exception. Okay. If it will find before 20 seconds, right, then it will return immediately. So in that case, you are saving some time. Okay. So we are telling here, right, you wait for this element, what is that, this element, right, for 20 seconds, but if you found it before, if it find it before, then it will return immediately. So that amount of time, whatever we had to wait for 20 seconds, so in that case we saved some time. Okay, so that is also advantage of your explicit wait. Okay, it will save time and it will make your test execution faster. Okay, then there will be a question in your mind, what is the difference between explicit wait and implicit wait? Let me tell you that, right? So first we'll see what is implicit wait. So implicit wait applies to all the elements in a test script. I showed you that, right? It was applicable in all the web elements, but explicit wait, it applies only to specific element as intended by the user. Whatever you want, there only it will be applicable. It will not applicable for all. So implicit is, you can say, global kind of wait, but where explicit wait is only for individual web element. Okay. So what is the next one? So implicit wait for one condition, that is visibility of object. But here we have a lot of conditions I showed you, right? You can wait for a frame, you can wait for a alert, text, okay, then visibility. So lot of conditions are there in the explicit wait. Okay, but in implicit wait it is only if it is visible, then we are showing. What is the third one? Here we don't have to specify expected conditions, but in explicit wait we are giving expected conditions. Okay, so implicit wait is most effective when used in a test case in which the elements are located with the time frame specified in implicit wait, whereas explicit wait is most effective when used when the elements are taking long time to load. Also useful for verifying property of the element such as visibility of element located, element to be clickable, or elements to be selected, and many more also, right? So these are the major difference between implicit wait and explicit wait. This is a very important interview question, so you should know what is the difference between implicit wait and explicit wait. Okay, so now we will see one more wait mechanism, that is fluent wait, right? So we will understand what is fluent wait now. So fluent wait in Selenium is used to define maximum time for the WebDriver to wait for a condition as well as the frequency with which we want to check the condition before throwing an element not visible exception. Okay, it checks for the web element at regular intervals until the object is found or timeout happens. In simple words, Fluent Wait looks for a web element repeatedly at a regular intervals until timeout happens or until the object is found. Okay, so let's say you have an element which sometime appears in just 1 second, or sometime it takes 1 minute also to appear. So in that case, it is always used to use Fluent Wait, okay, because it will try to find element again and again until it find or until the final timer runs out. Okay, so while using Fluent Wait, it is possible to set a default polling period, okay, as needed, and the user can configure the wait to ignore any exception during the polling period. Okay, so Fluent Waits are sometimes called smart waits because they don't wait out the entire duration defined in the code. Instead, the test continues to execute as soon as the element is detected or as soon as the condition specified in the method becomes true. Okay, so let's see with the example how we can use this Fluent Wait. So let's see through code how we can do it. Okay, so here we have used Explicit Wait. So for now, what I'll do, I'll just comment out this part. Okay, or I can do, I'll just create one more class just for Fluent Wait. Okay, I'll just write here Fluent Wait. Fine. So let me just copy the exact Fluent Wait command from the Google. Okay, so here we'll just search for Fluent Wait in Selenium. So we'll go to the official website, this selenium.dev. Okay, so here you can see, right? So sample usage, waiting 30 seconds for an element to be present on the page, checking for its presence once every 5 seconds. So just let me copy this complete part. Okay, and what we'll do here, anyway, I'll comment out these things, we don't need it, I'll just remove. Okay, and here we need, right? So I'll just put it here. Okay, and let me import. So this wait is, will import this through Selenium. Okay, and same here, import, then no such element exception, import, then this function, this Google command base import. Okay, so here we are getting some error. Why we are getting? Let's see that. So here you are seeing, right, it is deprecated. Okay, then what we need to use? We need to use this one, duration timeout. So what we will do, instead of writing like this, what we can do here, we'll just write duration dot of seconds. Okay, so whatever second you want to give, you can give it here. Okay, so for example, I want to give 30 seconds. So similarly, you can give here, here we will give 5 seconds. Okay, so here we are telling WebDriver wait, this new Fluent WebDriver wait, and this is our wait time, this is our polling time, and we'll ignore this. And this web element, we will name it as a proper web element. So we'll take this, I'll give this, and what we are telling, wait until new function this and public web element apply WebDriver driver return driver dot find element by dot id. So here we are using by dot xpath. So I'll just write by dot xpath and I will give this. Okay, and I will remove all these things. So here if you will see, this is the web element, right, sign in button. Okay, and we are telling wait until this function. So this is the method, right, and this is returning driver dot find element by dot xpath this. So when we are finding this xpath, when we are able to find this particular element, then we are getting this sign in button web element, and then we can click here. And what it is doing, it is define the timeout value as 30 seconds and polling value as 5 seconds. Okay, so it directs WebDriver to wait for not more than 30 seconds to a specific condition. So our condition is this, right? So if the conditions occurs during these 30 seconds, it will execute the next step, which is dot click. Okay, if not, it will return element not visible exception. Okay, so that's all about your Fluent Wait. That's all for today, and that's how we can perform different wait in Selenium. Hope this video will be helpful for you.
Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to explain it. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel.